1.4 billion people. Amidst the immense population, bustling economy, and deeply rooted cultural paradigms that define the nation, there is also a relative respect for health science and self betterment. That is, India has always been an epicenter for healthcare innovation and holistic medicine, in addition to being the modern day Mecca for the world's pharmaceutical needs. But India's latest milestone is something for the history books, achieving 1 billion vaccinations in less than a year, providing incredible hope for the future of the country's fight against the pandemic. Aligarh Muslim University triumphs on this achievement and celebrates today billion doses, a celebration of science and governance. Presided over by our very dynamic and versatile Vice Chancellor, Professor Tariq Mansoor sir, we also have a number of learned speakers with us today who will enlighten us about this great achievement. I, Dr. Saira Mehnas, Professor, Department of Community Medicine, on behalf of the organizing committee, extend a hearty welcome to all of you. As the tradition goes, starting the program with recitation from the Holy Quran, I invite Professor Sufyan Beg sir. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Shahid Siddiqui, Principal and CMS, Jain Medical College Hospital, for his welcome address. Sir, please.
Vice Chancellor sir, distinguished guest of honors, invited speakers, faculty members from the Faculty of Medicine and other faculties, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good afternoon to all of you. As we are aware that we have gathered here to celebrate a milestone achieved against our fight for COVID-19 pandemic. The problem of COVID started way back in December 19 from China and then spread to other countries across the globe. WHO declared this problem public health emergency of international concern on 30th of January, and later on this problem was declared as pandemic on 11th of March. Since then, multiple variants of COVID-19 have developed and they have created a havoc in the form of two peaks, which we have witnessed during our fight against this pandemic. As of now, 244 million cases and 4.9 million deaths have been confirmed. So thereby, this pandemic has been declared as one of the deadliest form of pandemic across the globe. There have been continuous efforts to overcome this problem because there was no definite treatment available. So there was more stress in developing a vaccine, as we have vaccine against other viruses also. So during the last or later half of 2020, there were certain vaccines which were available, and later on 4 or 5 of them were approved for human administration. And formally in December 2020, the program of vaccination was launched. And in India, this program was launched on 16th of January, precisely 2021, with a slogan, Sabko Tika Muft Tika. And we are fortunate to say that in just a little over than 9 months, we have achieved this landmark of vaccinating 1 billion population. This is definitely encouraging and moral booster, especially when we look back, especially during the first half of 2021, there were many problems and large number of uncertainties. But because of our the dynamic leadership of our national leaders and collective efforts by the all stakeholders, and with the help of the programs innovated, which resulted into effective communication strategies by various means, they help in motivating and mobilizing the people. As a result of that, we have been able to vaccinate 75% of adult population by single dose, and 31% of the population has been vaccinated with 2 doses. During this period, large number of vaccinators were trained, and logistic supply chain of the vaccination was closely monitored. This was possible because of the nation's strength and collective efforts of all these stakeholders which are involved in the management of this pandemic. The experience gained through vaccination program will be of valuable in designing and delivering of other public health programs across the country in future as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate this great occasion of achieving 1 billion doses, which was, as mentioned by Dr. Saira, it was achieved on 21st of October 2021. I welcome you all to this grand celebration, and I'm sure the deliberations by different guests of honor and the invited speakers will further enlighten us that how we were able to achieve this target. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and your constant support and motivation. Next is the address by Professor Sufyan Beg, Principal, Zakir Hussain College of Engineering and Technology, Chairman, Alumni Affairs Committee. He has taken up the Herculean task of encouraging and motivating our alumni and the communities around them for vaccination. Please.
Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Aligarh Muslim University, Professor Mansoor Sahab, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, respected guests of honor, fellow colleagues in the faculty, students, alumni, and all the stakeholders of the Aligarh Muslim University. Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, greetings from the Aligarh Muslim University. It is very heartening to note that we are here to celebrate the billion doses of the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 struck us in a very fierce way, and all of us have lost our near and dear ones somewhere or the other, from our relatives, from our friends, from our neighborhood. And it is all the more important that we take preventions in order to save us from all such future calamities and future problems with this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you think that we are going to stay in isolation forever, that is not possible. Because it's not just about the lives that we have lost. So many people have lost their business, their jobs, their livelihood. And then if we think that we'll be able to put the mask forever, that also may not be possible, because when we go out in public at some point of time or the other, we have to remove the mask. and also washing hands or whatever precaution that we have to take. But then probably vaccination is the only thing that is going to help us and save us in all the different circumstances. And that brings us to the often repeated and often cited example. People, they are a bit apprehensive about its fallouts, but then the example is given that vaccination is like putting the seat belt on while driving. So that is made mandatory because even if, God forbid, an accident happens, the severity of the accident is much lesser. There may be some seatbelt related problems also in the accident, but that will be very rare, and that is nothing as compared to the saving that we'll get from the impact of the accident. So it is all the more important that we go for vaccination for ourselves, our family members, our friends, our neighborhood, and we take it on us as an outreach activity to motivate people. The probability of its side effects are very low, and then side effects are everywhere. Whatever form of medicine we take, the side effects are there. But still we go for treatment, we go for medication. On the lighter side, there was this person who went to a doctor and he said, "Doctor साहब, सुनना है कि जो वैक्सीन लगवा लेगा वो 2 साल में मर जाएगा." तो डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा कि सब लोग लगवा रहे हैं, तुम भी लगवा लो, तुम ही जिंदा रहकर क्या करोगे? So, just for the fear of flights crash, but we do not, leave flying from one place to the other. We do not stay away from taking flights. So just for a little fear, we should not, stay from the great benefits that the vaccination will bring. If God forbid, an infection happens, the severity of it will be brought down. So from this platform, I request all the alumni and all the well-wishers and the stakeholders of this great seat of learning to take it as an outreach activity to persuade the masses, to persuade the people to go for vaccination. Whatever is recommended and at whatever age it is recommended, whatever location you are available or whatever be your native place, please reach out to people, request them to go for vaccination, persuade them, motivate them, and use all the means at our end to go for the vaccination and contribute to the great vision of our leaders to vaccinate the entire masses so that we are able to develop the herd community and we are able to save ourselves from the severity of this pandemic in future. I'm thankful that I'm given this opportunity, and I appreciate all the efforts being put by the university administration also, including the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Tariq Mansoor Sahab, for creating the facilities for both kinds of vaccines in the medical college. And all of us have benefited from there. So let us join hands in furthering the cause of vaccination. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for reinforcing that vaccination is the only way out for now. Now I invite Dr. Krishna M. Ella, Chairman and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech International Limited, for his talk. He will be joining us online.
My background is not supposed to be that one. I'm sorry about that. But we will take as we move along. But I think I want to thank the Vice Chancellor Tariq Mansoor Saab, and I think Professor Shahid Siddiqui Saab, who just spoke earlier, and just now spoke the alumni, Professor Supian Beg Saab, and Ajay Gai, and Pankaj Somani Saab, and my friend, Professor Mohammad Shamin. I call him friend. The reason is very simple. The reason I call him because he's a very passionate person and very passionate about research. And very few universities I've seen that so much passionate about for research. And I think I want to thank him, Mohammad Shamin, to make it recruitment of this clinical trial, make it a big success. So coming to the 100 crore doses. I want to tell to every alumni and every university there, faculty and students, that 100 crores means the entire American continent. That means US and Canada put together, and Europe and Australia, 3 continents put together. They've not even reached 100 crores. That means not even reached 1 billion doses. So that way, and some of the countries are divided on vaccination, whether it should take or not take a vaccine. I think as a country, we are all united and believed in science and make it to happen. The 100 crores dose is a very significant factor as a country with a diversity, with a difference of opinion, different political ideology. All that happened is something great to the country. I'm telling you, I want to thank every citizen of this country, salute them for believing in that. And I think, clinical trial is a very important, I'm telling you honestly. If innovation has to succeed in this country, without clinical research, without clinical trial, we don't progress. Why US and Europe has progress is not because of the innovation. The innovation is being executed at the field level in a clinical research. That's how they succeeded in a product development. So I think my sincere interest in every university to become more research oriented. Some of them, small medical college cannot become research, but universities like, and I'm grateful to the Aligarh Muslim University. I think this is the first university celebrating 100 crores dose. I've not heard about other university celebrating this. This shows the magnanimity of the Vice Chancellor's progressive thinking of the university itself in a clinical research, and inviting me into this program also shows that how much importance you are giving for clinical research also. And I want to thank the Vice Chancellor and all the investigators and all the graduate students. I think we have done more than 100 clinical trials in more than 14 countries. I'll tell a simple example. Why the impact of clinical research? We work with a lot of partnership with US and UK. And just example, in last 1 month, we had 2 in New England Journal of Publication from Nepal and Malawi clinical data. Another one came from Pakistan on Lancet publication. Just 3 publications in last 1 month from typhoid conjugate published in 3 different continents recently. And I think, the clinical research not only doing just for the sake of research, but it inspires the students. It inspires the faculty, because every time you're seeing a patient, you're tired of it. You want some new ideas, new thinking. And this clinical research gives you a different broad outlook, how to think differently. See, research is nothing but everybody can be a researcher. It is not, you don't need a qualification. Research means is an analytical thinking process, a common sense analytical thinking process. That comes if your people are involved in the clinical research, in a research program, that gets into clinical analytical thinking process that leads to wonderful clinical research, and you build on GCP, good clinical practices. Into that, you become one of the global leaders in the clinical research. And I think AIMU has got a great chance to become a global leader. And forget about even global leadership is not far away for AIMU to become a clinical research. What is needed is a proactive, transparent, and open discussion. And what is to be required in the clinical research. We'll not forget about all other things, what the people talk about it, that is not immaterial. We all should focus on what is good for the society at large, what is good for the public at thing. And I think we are proud to say that AIMU Mohammed was involved with us. This is the first largest clinical trial in the developing world. We've beaten even Chinese in terms of clinical trial size of 26,000. And this is the 3rd country in the world to do the efficacy trial of this size after US and UK, and we are the 3rd country in the world to do that type of trial. And I think I'm proud that AIMU was involved in this program, and we truly believe in a public-private partnership, honestly. And the reason is industry want to put a pressure on the academic, and academic should put the pressure on the industry. So both the pressure brings the best out of both people. Otherwise, what happens? Your faculty works independently, industry works independently, we don't trust each other, then nothing will happen to the globe, point of view. I think that's a very, very critical. And I've been suggesting for a long time, for last 10 years, when I give a foundation lecture in Gangaram Hospital, way back in 10 years back, I said, we need to promote the MBBS PhD program together, a joint program. See, what happened? We are training MBBS students in this country to become more of a practicing doctors. They are becoming MD and FD, MD, DM, everything getting into the sort of cycle process. get stressed out on the student. Some of the students should go into research. The one way to move that is MBBS PhD joint program would help, people going into research. And I'm telling many Nobel laureates in US has got only because of MD PhD program. That is what success. And I wish all the success to the AMU. And I want to thank Vice Chancellor and my friend Mohammed Shamin to be involved in this program. And we are grateful for AMU being a part of us in our growth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for appreciating the efforts of Aligarh Muslim University. Your appreciation is an achievement for us. Now I invite Dr. Ajay Ghai, State Immunization Officer, Joint Director, Family Welfare, Government of Uttar Pradesh, who will now talk about logistics and planning. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I really thank the authorities, particularly the VC, for inviting me to this beautiful webinar. The speakers before me have talked about the importance of vaccination, particularly in this COVID-19. And but I really want to appreciate the efforts taken by the Aligarh Muslim University, first in developing the vaccine, and then again a contribution to the vaccination part, which was started in January this year. Initially, when the vaccination program was started, there were some hiccups everywhere in country, especially in UP, and more particularly in Aligarh. But later on, the things improved and the speed of vaccination picked up. Because 1 billion in India means a lot. 1 billion is a big figure, as was told by my previous speaker. If you include, say, 10, 15, 20 countries, even then it doesn't make 1 billion. 1 billion is a huge effort. And in India, we have achieved around 75% of first dose vaccination and about 30% of the second dose vaccination. But as I am a program officer of UP, I'll like to tell you what the situation in UP is. In UP, we have achieved 65% of the first dose and 20% of the second dose. And if we talk of Aligarh, it is slightly behind. It is 60% of the first dose and 17% of the second dose. So we have miles to go, because UP in itself is a country. We can't call it a state, because UP is around 1/6 of the Indian population. Even if we have done more than 12.5 crore of doses, still we are left with around say 5 crore of first doses only. So a lot of work to be done. We have miles to go. And I think the people who have been working in the fields, particularly our field workers, the ANMs, the ASHAs, the Anganwadi workers, they have done a huge job in the last 1 year for this vaccination purpose. So I wish all of you the very best, particularly the AMU, the work it has done in developing the vaccine, and I hope that you will be continuing your efforts and your support for the continuation of this vaccination program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for an insight into the vaccination status of UP in particular. Now I invite Dr. Pankaj Somani, Senior National Program Manager, Health System Strengthening and UNDP. He is currently supporting the implementation of Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network, and he'll talk about how it revolutionized COVID vaccination.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, let me thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Tariq Mansoor Saab, the faculty members of Community Medicine Department and other departments, and distinguished speakers, and the patient listeners, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again, and the organizers, of course, thanking you for inviting me for this webinar, for this very important webinar, where we are celebrating the 1 billion doses. And congratulations to the AMU for being part of the clinical trial for this such a safe and potent vaccine which we have now for the general public. So thank you once again, and congratulations to all of you. So I was asked to share some experience on CoWIN implementation, which is the tech platform, the technological platform which has been facilitating the COVID vaccination drive. And all of you, as you know, it has really revolutionized the entire COVID vaccination drive, whether reporting or recording or even getting the coverage from the single portal, or for the users, for the beneficiaries, or for the health system providers. So it has really revolutionized the entire COVID vaccination drive. I took the liberty of making a small presentation. If you allow me, I can share it, a few slides, and I can go ahead with my presentation. Dr. Ali, may I? So I may be able to share my content.
Content share karo. Sir, you are already allowed. You can share it.
Okay, thank you.
So there will be a tab of share at the base of your screen, if you can see.
Yeah, but
It shows share.
it's not functional actually. I'm clicking on it. It doesn't allow me to share.
I think we have both will. We'll take a minute, sir. Sorry for that.
Okay, no. Sure. So till the time I'm able to share my content, I just wanted to tell you, see, the preparations for this COVID vaccination drive, or the CoWIN portal, it actually started way back in last year in August, September, and creating the databases of all the beneficiaries, and databases of all the facilities, the health infrastructure, the vaccinators, was a Herculean task, and it was taken over by the ministry and the state governments, which are supported by the many stakeholders, partners like UNDP, UNICEF, WHO, and various other partners. So this was started last year itself, before even the vaccines were granted the approval by the competent authority. And even the operation guidelines were laid down for this massive vaccination drive. Dr. Ghai is here. We have been interacting very frequently on almost like say weekly basis during the meetings and all with the ministry. So he knows, and he's the right person to, I mean, he would have told you more in much detail about the entire implementation process. But yes, since all of you are part of it, so that's how it started. And as you all know, there is a electronic vaccine intelligence.
Sir, can you share if you like?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have been given the rights.
Yes, I have received. Thank you.
Sorry for that.
So I was telling you about this CoWIN platform is nothing but an extension of the existing electronic vaccine intelligence network, which is a mobile-based platform to track all the vaccines, the routine immunization vaccines. So this same platform was extended to include the beneficiaries tracking into it, and to provide an end-to-end solution for this COVID vaccination drive. So that's how it was formed. And finally, we had a product which is a tech-based platform, and it facilitates the planning, implementation, the monitoring and evaluation of all the entire COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. So for this to have a wider outreach, or I would say to be equitable, it has to have, it has to overcome all the barriers, whether it's linguistic barriers. So it is available in multiple languages. It is accessible throughout the country by the users, by the beneficiaries, by the service providers, and by the beneficiaries as well. It is a single source of truth for the policymakers, for the administrators, for the managers, for the officers, like the state immunization officers, the bureaucrats. So it's a single source of truth for getting the reports. Yes, it is a scalable. It's a very the architecture of this platform, it's a very dynamic in nature. I mean, it kept on evolving, and it accommodates various changes as per the circumstances. And if you see the current portal, it's way ahead and way advanced what it used to be, or what it used to be on 16th of January. Initially, we had to pre-register all the beneficiaries to get them vaccinated. But now, even the online or say offline or on-site registrations are possible. The people can just walk into the COVID vaccination centers, get themselves registered, and then they can get themselves vaccinated. So it has come a long way, and many other changes have been incorporated into it, and it has been made very user friendly, so that the service providers as well as the beneficiaries who are using the platform for registration, or say for knowing the status of their vaccination, or getting the reminders or acknowledgements. So all these have been incorporated into the system. So as we say, I mean, our previous ASMD ma'am, Dr. Vandana Gunani, she used to tell us that we are building the ship as we're sailing it. So this CoWIN is a very apt example of this phase. So it was built as we sailed through it. So if I talk about the vaccine delivery management system, all the vaccines, what we receive, we receive it from the manufacturers, and then they are transported to the last cold chain point. We have almost 29,000 cold chain points in our country, and all of them are equipped with EVEN. So this EVEN helps in tracking the stock and the temperature of the vaccines. And from the cold chain points, it goes to the COVID vaccination centers or the sessions where the beneficiaries are registered and they are vaccinated. So once they are vaccinated, their status is updated on the CoWIN, and they get that QR code based certificates, and they get all the reminders for the next dose, when to come and when to get vaccinated. If at all there is any AEFI, adverse events following immunization, that is also reported through the same portal, and it goes to the SafeVac, which is an existing platform of Government of India for reporting the AEFIs for the RI vaccines. So in a nutshell, CoWIN is implemented at all the levels. I mean, if I talk about the service provider level, at the national, state, district, and at the COVID vaccination centers level, each of them has got their own roles and responsibilities, how to track the vaccines, how to distribute the vaccines further, how to generate the reports, how to vaccinate the people. All of them have got their own roles and responsibilities. And then it has got a citizen portal or the beneficiaries portal, wherein you can see here, they can register, they can sign in and know the status later on. And now various other needs have been accommodated in the portal. Like if somebody has to travel abroad, then they can get their passport linked to their COVID certificates. Even a foreign national can register on CoWIN and get themselves vaccinated. And if there are any issues in the certificates, they can raise an issue, and they can they can raise the issue and get it rectified. So all these have been incorporated in the system. As far as the managers are concerned, they can view the stock, they can publish the vaccine schedules, the verification of citizens can be done, authentication of the citizens can be done using various photo IDs. All of you are well aware of it. And they have the real-time dashboards for any corrective actions. And the policymakers at the highest level, so whether the health minister's level or the PMO's level, they have a single source of truth for the vaccination data, for the coverage data. Then they can track the AEFIs for various vaccine brands. They have the granular details of the vaccine coverage, and this really helps in predicting the future outbreaks. I mean, if we know the immunity levels of a particular geographical area or of a community, then we can really predict the outbreaks in future. And now the same software, the same portal can be used for any other vaccinations also in future. So it's well equipped now. This is a dashboard which is available in public domain, and there's a transparency of data for all the stakeholders, whether you want to know the vaccination centers, the number of citizens registered, number of doses given. So all this information is there on the public domain, and it's very transparent. And these are the partners who have worked for development of CoWIN software. These are some of the COVID-19 vaccination demand generation activities. I could hear some of the previous speakers, they've already spoken about their attention about the vaccines. So there are various activities are being undertaken by the government, social media talks, then political commitment, celebrating the records, then creating awareness about the COVID appropriate behavior along with vaccination, then celebrating the COVID warriors and COVID heroes. So all these activities have been taken up, and all said and done, which the point which Dr. Ghai and others have already emphasized, I would like to just reiterate the same point. Despite many challenges, I mean, COVID is spearheading the world's largest vaccination drive, but everything is made possible only because of the hardships and the challenges or the work which has been done by our frontline health workers. I mean, they are crossing the rivers, they are reaching the mountains, crossing the dense forest, but they are ensuring that no one is left behind, no one is left unvaccinated. And because of their efforts, our country was able to cross that magical figure of 1 billion doses. तो ऐसे जज्बे को सलाम, ऐसे शक्ति को प्रणाम. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. Thank you for telling us about the flexibility of the COVID software, and of course, it has played a very significant role in the success of this vaccination program. I would now like to invite Professor Mohammad Shamim, Department of TB and R&D, Principal Investigator, Covaxin Trial. He'll tell us about the very successful trial of Covaxin that was undertaken by Aligarh Muslim University.
Good afternoon, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, and Professor Tariq Mansoor, sir, Managing Director and Chairman, Dr. Ella, and all the dignitaries of the day. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Bharat Biotech for the invaluable work taken by them to reach this 1 billion mark. It was really a commendable job from Bharat Biotech, who provided the vaccine for vaccinating the poorest of the poor in the country. Thank you, Mr. Ella, and all the team of the Bharat Biotech. Aligarh Muslim University is a center for research and innovation, and it was the vision of our Vice Chancellor, sir, to take the vaccine trial in AMU. He used to call us, me, Professor Shahid Siddiqui, sir, and Atul, sir, to submit the trial proposal to ICMR, and he took keen interest in updating and taking day to day what's going on. And finally, because of his keen interest, we received the trial and we executed as well. Thank you, sir, for guiding us, and we hope that you will guide us in future also. I would like to thank all the team members of the Bharat Biotech, especially Mr. Siddharth Reddy and Sunil, for time to time managing us. When we have any problem, we used to call them, and they used to help us. And I would also like to thank all the research team of this vaccine trial. We have around 14 staff of the trial. They are working from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. till today, because the documents that are to be submitted for audit, most probably we are going to have US FDA audit also. So for that, I am thankful to all the staff members who are working dedicatedly throughout from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I will also like to thank the principal and CMS and the medical superintendent for providing the logistics. They never refused anything, whatever we wanted. Thank you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. I now call upon Dr. Ali Jafar Abdi, University Health Officer, AMU, for a brief overview of the vaccination program here.
Respected Vice Chancellor, sir, respected teachers and senior faculty members. Today's seminar is on a celebration of science and governance. And this is for the 100 crore doses which we have been able to administer in just 281 days. Now, when I'm talking about 281 days and talking about 100 crores, I'm talking about India also and the world also. It took 32 years to give 100 doses of BCG, and it took 23 years to give 100 crore doses of polio in India. If you compare with world, China, yes, it has given 100 crores, but it started way back in June last year. and that also without phase 3 trial. So we can safely say that we are the fastest and also one of the safest. In Aligarh, especially at Jain Medical College, we started our immunization way back in January. It was a clinical trial center also, and the faculty members were also being vaccinated. Slowly and gradually things evolved, and now we have two centers. We have both for Covaxin and as far as Covishield. And whether it was a holiday, whether it was a rainy day, whether it was anything, we worked and we started. We were vaccinating people throughout every working day. We have also been doing IC activities throughout the campus. We have pasted posters at our website also. The government has requested us, so we have put all those things on the website also. And on an average, Dr. Ghai would appreciate that around 650 doses are being given daily. And this is given for both the vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin. Here, one thing just I would like to say as a preventive health person, that no doubt vaccine has increased our daily activities. We are free from lockdowns. We can carry out on our economic activities, but other COVID protocols should be followed. And sir, the second dose, we should be prepared that the gap between the first dose and second dose should be curtailed. We should also talk about the districts which are not performing well as far as the state level is concerned. And third thing, sir, is that we should increase our information, education, and communication so that still those people who are not been able to be vaccinated, we should work for them. I'm extremely thankful for giving this opportunity to speak on this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Abdi. I'd like to take a minute now to enumerate in brief a few initiatives taken by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tariq Mansoor, during these difficult COVID times. I list them. Installation of oxygen generation plant costing about 1.4 crores for JNMC Hospital AMU from the university funds. Raised funds of around $2 lakh from alumni in USA, UK, and other places for 2 more oxygen plants. He was constantly in contact with the administration, with PMO, Union Education Minister, officials of the Education Ministry, and the Chief Minister of UP. He was constantly managing both education and this pandemic simultaneously. While efforts were being made to tackle the second wave, the Vice Chancellor was initiating action plan to prepare for a possible third wave. And AMU has promised to work closely with the state and union government to augment health infrastructure and add to capacity in critical areas such as pediatric ICUs so that better medical care can be provided to everyone, especially children. He has also been making repeated appeals to the university community and their families to get themselves vaccinated on priority. Appeals made through official notifications as well as social media, WhatsApp messages, and press. 2 vaccine centers are running in AMU campus in the premises of Jain Medical College for which he has been taking personal care. Reaching out to philanthropic organizations and alumni for aid to GNMC, started telemedicine services and COVID help desk for AMU employees, equipped with COVID medicines available for collection through prescription. AMU collaborated with ICMR and Bharat Biotech for undertaking trials for Covaxin vaccine. AMU was the first center to complete speediest enrollment of first 1,000 volunteers for the vaccine trials. AMU Vice Chancellor received a letter from Bharat Biotech congratulating and appreciating efforts of AMU in Covaxin third phase trial, which is continuing till date, as we have heard just now. There is an unending list of our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir's achievements and efforts during these difficult times. I would now like to call upon Professor Tariq Mansoor, Vice Chancellor, Aligarh Muslim University, for his address. Thank you.
Managing Chairman and Managing Director, Bharat Biotech, I don't think he's there, but even then I'll mention his name because he was a participant. Mr. Krishna Amela, Mr. Ajay Ghai, Mr. Pankaj Somani, Dean, Faculty of Medicine, Professor Rakesh Bhargav, Principal, Professor Shai Siddiqui, Chairman, Alumni Affairs Committee, Professor Sufyan Beg, the Principal Investigator of the Covaxin trial, Professor Mohammad Shamim, and all the other distinguished persons and chairpersons present here. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the health workers, because as Mr. Pankaj Somani has rightly pointed out, it is the effort of the frontline workers and the health workers that the country has been able to achieve the target of 1 billion rupees. And of course, the vaccine manufacturers, because they have given us the doses. If the doses were not available, how will you vaccinate? And the state governments and all the other functionaries in the governance at the state level and the national level, the Prime Minister, the Chief Ministers, the health ministers, all these things. Because 1 million doses, 1 billion doses equal to 3 times the population of USA. Population of USA is 330 million. So this is 3 times the population of the United States. And as Mr. Krishna M. Ella has rightly pointed out, it is the combined population of the United States, Europe, and the European Union, 1 billion. So this is not a small thing to vaccinate 1 billion people. I will request all the employees and the students to get vaccinated, because AMU has suffered heavily in the second wave, whether it is the teaching staff or the non-teaching staff or the AMU, larger AMU fraternity, we have suffered heavily. So a lot of people have got vaccinated. The students have also undergone vaccination, but even then, I feel that a significant number of teachers and non-teaching staff and students have not yet got vaccinated. So they should get vaccinated. And the principal was telling me, and Dean was also telling me just now, there are a lot of rushes there since last 2-3 days at the vaccination center. So it means that people had not got vaccinated earlier. A significant number had not got vaccinated. So we have to motivate our students also and our employees also, as the larger community also, in the city as well as all over the country, through our alumni network, that they must take the vaccination at the earliest. Now, we must also consider vaccination of children also in the future. Because if the children between the age of already the Pfizer vaccine and the other vaccine in the United States, they have been approved for vaccination between the ages of 12 to 18 years. But for children between the 5 to 11 years, we have to consider. Because then only all the educational institutions will open. The schools will also open. The universities will also open. If all the students, they get vaccinated. And if we are able to get the children vaccinated in the next few months, in the next 5-6 months, then from the next academic session, all the education activities, whether they are at the school level, primary school level, or secondary school level, they will also normalize. And the educational institutions will also normalize. So I think the focus of the research and for the vaccine trials should now be on children also. Because all the vaccines, the children, they are getting all the vaccines, whether it is influenza vaccine or it is MMR vaccine or measles vaccine. So children, they are the first priority to give the vaccines. But here, of course, since the safety has not been proved, we have hesitated in giving it. And of course, the safety is the first priority. We cannot give vaccines without safety to anybody, whether they are adults or children. So we must be sure about the safety of these vaccines in children. But I think if they are safe, then they should be given in the future, of course. The vaccine manufacturers, they also deserve our appreciation, especially Serum Institute of India and the Bharat Biotech, because they have made a lot of efforts to make India the vaccine capital of the world. Because now we are having, I think after 2-3 months, India will be in a position to export these vaccines all over the world. Already they have started. In November they have started. So earlier we were exporting, but since the second wave came, we stopped. So the first priority was to give vaccination to our own population. But now we have started the vaccination again. Sorry, the export of the vaccines again. And in future, I think this will be further increased. So India is not only the vaccine capital for COVID vaccine, but also for all other vaccines. And the main feature of the Indian vaccine is that the cost is only 25% of what it is of other countries. For example, influenza vaccine, which is manufactured by some multinational companies, the cost is 1,400, 1,500 rupees. The cost with manufactured by Indian companies, it is 300 rupees. Similarly, for hepatitis B, the cost is 20% of what they are manufacturing. So cost-wise also, our vaccines are cheaper and they can be cleared. And we need cheap vaccines and large number of vaccines so that those countries, especially the African countries and the Latin American countries, they can also get vaccinated. Because Africa and Latin America, they are lagging behind in vaccination. Especially Africa is lagging behind. So the world and the rich countries, they should make the cheap vaccines available to the African countries also. Because you see, if we feel that we have got everybody vaccinated in India or in USA or in Europe, the world will become safe. It is not going to be like that. The world is now a global village, and every country has to be vaccinated. Because people will travel from here and there, and if we are leaving one continent behind, then it is going to adversely affect all of us. So we cannot afford that any country or any one continent to lag behind. And we should not become complacent. In India also, as well as all over the world, because we are seeing a resurgence of the virus, whether it is in the United Kingdom or in Russia and in so many other places, we are seeing resurgence, especially in the United Kingdom. You must have read in the newspapers that cases they have increased to 50,000 and about 500 people they are dying every day. So despite all the vaccinations and other things, resurgence has occurred. Similarly in Russia also, they are having a record number of cases and record number of deaths in Russia also. So we cannot become complacent in India as well as all over the world. And we have a lot of ground to cover. Despite getting 1 billion doses, the second dose has not been given to many people. And in India also, some people may avoid a second dose. So we have to consider all these things. And second dose is also very important. In the future, we may require a booster dose also, especially for the susceptible population. Those who are more than 60 years and who are immunocompromised or having some other disease. In the United States and Europe, they are already giving booster dose. In Israel also, they are giving booster dose to all the persons who are more than 60 years of age. So I think this may be required in the future. In the years to come, a booster dose may be required in India also. Because we are having booster doses for influenza also, you take every year. So we don't know in future. I think this vaccine we may have to take as a booster dose and also periodically also. But let us see how things pan out. Dr. Jafar Abdi has rightly pointed out this COVID-19 behavior should be followed, and social distancing and mask wearing they should be done, and we must develop a culture. You see, in Japan, there is a culture. Long before COVID, they are wearing masks, the Japanese people. In ordinary work, they are wearing masks. So we must also develop a culture, global culture, that we should develop, we should wear masks. And wherever we go, because it is not, the mask is not going to only prevent the COVID, it is going to prevent so many other diseases. So I keep a mask in my pocket whenever I'm going to some function or thing. Recently, I went to a marriage, lot of crowd was there. Immediately, I put on my mask, not to safeguard myself from COVID, but for so many other droplet infections which can occur, influenza virus and so many other viruses. So of course, as Professor Sufyan Beg has pointed out, it is not possible to wear the mask all the time. When you are eating, how you can wear a mask? Or when you are speaking, then it may not be possible. So there may be some exceptions maybe have to be there. But if we put on masks when we are going in public transport or when we are in crowded places, I think it is going to benefit everybody and we must develop a culture for that also. So we have to take a special precautions, especially in this festival season also. Till December, we have to take special precautions. I congratulate the organizers for organizing this webinar and Professor Sarah Mehta has pointed out some accomplishments which the university has done and which the Vice Chancellor has done, but I don't think it is only the Vice Chancellor who is responsible for this. It is a teamwork. Everybody is responsible. Vice Chancellor is of course there, but the principal is there, the dean is there, our various committees are there, the alumni are there, the head of the departments are there, all the faculty members are there. It is the combined effort of everybody that we have been able to perform all these things and do whatever, such as installation of the oxygen plants and so many other things. And the alumni, they have also contributed. So it is always a teamwork which is important, not work of any individual. So it is whatever credit she gave to me, I think the credit belongs to all of us, of the faculty members of the university and of the medical college and of the head of the departments and of the hospital administration. The credit should go to all. I also congratulate Professor Muhammad Shamim for organizing these trials. And as he said, he worked with the ICMR because they gave to other colleges. He said we also want, so we followed it up. The officers of the ICMR, they also helped us. Ultimately, we got the trials because we wanted that we should also, AMU should also remain on the map of this COVID research work. And as Professor Sarah Menas has pointed out, we were the first to complete 1,000 volumes. Even before AIMS New Delhi, we were first. Much ahead. So the credit goes to Professor Muhammad Shamim and his team. And because they are the other research associates and the other technical staff and the other staff all who have worked. And I was just telling him also that we must also, if they give this Bharat Biotech is already conducting trial on children. Maybe they will conduct larger number of trials. In future, we can also take off children. Because we must now focus on the children, giving vaccines to the children for the future. In the next 6 months, 1 year, the focus should be on children. So if you can always consider, because this Bharat Biotech is already conducting several centers they have conducted on children. So you can get in touch with them, and if they can give us, through the ICMR, if they can give us as part of that larger trial, if you can be one of the centers, I think we can continue. So all my best wishes that we should continue the vaccination for the AMU community, number one. We should continue with the COVID vaccine trials. Thirdly, we must prepare for the third wave because we don't know when it is going to come. Because when the second wave came, nobody knew. Everybody was caught off guard. Whether it was the government or it was the public or anybody, we were all not aware of it. Suddenly it came. On 20th April, we conducted selection committee. Suddenly it came, the expert came from Delhi, Malappuram. Selection committee had conducted for assistant professor in management on 20th of April. And suddenly it started in 2-3 days. So we had to prepare for the third wave. So we have established creating ICU, but otherwise also we have to upgrade our infrastructure. This gives us an opportunity to upgrade the infrastructure. So even if it is not used for COVID, it will be used for other things. Once you upgrade the infrastructure, increase the number of oxygenated beds, make more high dependency units, ICUs. So it will not only help us in the COVID third wave, but also for the other things also, in general for all the other diseases. So I'm sure that this webinar will also create awareness, because I talked to the principal and dean and Professor Abdi and Professor Sufyan Bey also. I said, let us organize it so that we are able to create public awareness. Once the webinar will be created, we are going to give it on social media and on press and other things. So environment will be created. And I'm still very apprehensive because ours is a residential university. That we should try to get all our students and all our employees and their dependents fully vaccinated as early as possible. So I once again thank the organizers for organizing it. Sure that we'll all work together for the common goals which I have known. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we should adopt sir's advice about adopting the culture of prevention in our lives. I express my gratitude to sir for sparing time from his busy schedules and presiding over this event. And as all good things come to an end, we have also reached to the end of this wonderful feast of celebrations. Last but not the least, I invite our very hardworking Dean Faculty of Medicine, Professor Rakesh Bhargav, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Well, indeed, my privilege to be presenting a vote of thanks to all distinguished guests who are present online as well as offline. This is a program which was constituted by our Vice Chancellor 3 days back, and you can say that this program is occurring during the Amrit Mahotsav as well as celebration of the 1 billion doses of the vaccination. So both the things are coinciding with this. So I'm thankful to all of you making it a successful one, and the message should go to the all public that University AMU is with the vaccination and it will propagate. As VC said, that all our students, all our staff members and the workers who are working with the AMU should be vaccinated. Not only them, their family and their colleague, their relatives, they should get immunized with the COVID vaccine. I am also thankful to all the participants who have given lecture in very short time. At least you say that within 2 days they all prepared and they have come up with a very nice presentation. Especially Dr. Mr. Pankaj Savani, Senior National Program Manager, Health System, strengthening the UNDP. Dr. Ajay Ghai, State Immunization Officer, Joint Director UIP, as well as Mr. Krishna M. Ella, Chairman and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech. I especially thank Dr. Ahmed, Senior Project Officer, Health and Government, UNDP, who has managed all these things. Our special invitees, our Professor M.M. Sufyan Sahab, who is our faculty in Engineering College, our Professor Mohammad Shamim, who is from our department, and he has worked very hard in doing all the immunization trial. I will also thank Principal and CMS Jain Medical College, Professor Shahid Siddiqui, who worked constantly for last 2-3 days in managing this program. I also thank our refer everything for help. Again, thanks to Department of Surgery, especially Professor Ahmed Ali Rijvi for giving such a beautiful auditorium for presenting this program. As well as lastly, to all of the participants who are present here as well as on the line, thanks for all, and we should propagate this message of vaccination to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'd like to end this speech with the University Tarana, and I request all to stand after that for the national anthem.
चमन पर बरसेगा, लहरों के चमन पर बरसेगा, हर शहर तरफ पर गरजेगा, हर फसले तरफ पर खड़केगा। ये अब्र हमेशा बरसा है, ये अब्र हमेशा बरसेगा, ये अब्र हमेशा बरसा है, ये अब्र हमेशा बरसेगा, ये अब्र हमेशा बरसा है, ये अब्र हमेशा बरसेगा, बरसेगा बरसेगा बरसेगा। जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।